Been your biggest takeaways from the retreat?
So I came out with a really nice feeling. One of my biggest takeaways that surprised me was, as most of us are in that group, we're kind of like fueled. We get our joy. We are happy when we're being creative. And I had this like very narrow vision of what that was. And that came from someone else's coaching, as you know. And that really hit me. And I feel sort of rejuvenated by that. So that's one thing, bringing creativity into some other areas of my life that in the past I thought was more drudgery, like meal planning and my planner and that kind of thing. The second thing that I wrote down that I kept thinking about was I came out with so on Friday morning when I was having a shower, the word trust just like popped into my head, and it would like came over me. And I think this morning when I was writing about it, I was putting it's similar to safety. That's the word I was going to think of. So you talk about having safety.
Yeah.
And I think I made the word trust kind of mean the same thing. And that feeling towards myself, that I can have that that I do have. And a lot of the activities we did last week sort of made me realize that. And that's why I think Friday morning that word came into my head. And I know you and I talked about how I say confidence and what do I mean by being confident. And I think I've kind of replaced it with the word trust or safety about myself.
Yeah. So how empowering is that?
Amazing. It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. You can just move
It's
forward.
amazing.
Yeah. I love it. What was it like to be with the people in person? Like, because we're like we're the little squares on a screen.
Yeah.
In person with them. How was that experience for you?
Oh my gosh. It was awesome. Deb picked me up in the airport, and we kind of couldn't find each other at first. She was in a different place, and I could see her like from a distance, and I'm like, oh, I know exactly who that. There she is. And when we saw Sue, we picked up Sue. So it was a little bit gradual at the beginning. And Sue, who is someone I've bared like my whole entire soul to her. It just felt really good. And then meeting everybody else was so fun. Seeing you was so fun. It was like seeing friends, but it was also different because we've never actually seen each other. And we had some laughs about that, of course, right? Like we're like, oh, you're taller than I thought. And oh, you're shorter than I thought. And that kind of stuff. But it was good. And I will say, like, I was the youngest person there. And at first, many of them are the same age as my mom.
Yeah.
And I do sometimes, that can be a bit of a block in my head. That was a little bit of a block in my head a few times, because generational people deal with different things, different issues. Raising our kids. You and I are raising our kids in a completely different generation. They raise their kids.
Yeah. And it's interesting because our kids are, your 3 kids are the same age as 3 of my kids.
Yeah. Yes. So we have like similar stuff going on, where when they were raising their kids, there are a lot of things that are different.
Yeah.
And anyway, that was kind of interesting, but yeah, I loved it.
Well, it's also interesting to realize that even though we're different ages, we all have so many of the similar challenges.
Yeah.
And that's also very empowering, I think, because it doesn't matter how old we are, we can all change and we can all evolve and grow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very inspirational to see these women at these ages.
I know it is. Totally.
So cool. Okay. So it was a lot of money and it was not so inconvenient. I mean, it wasn't super convenient to get on a plane, especially when you have to leave your family behind. And so what was it worth it? And like, would you do it again? Tell me.
It was totally worth it. It was hard. I was really nervous. I actually like traveling by myself. I've done it a little bit in the past.
Yeah.
So I had like a little bit of excitement about that, but it was, I think my kids are at really good ages. I can leave very much easier. I got home, my husband was gone for the weekend. So, but it was worth it. It was a big travel. Like it was a huge travel. It wasn't, one of the stumbling blocks for me going to Wisconsin was that too. Like it's a flight and then a flight. And then how am I going to get to and this was the same. I was going to do it anyways. Deb offered really early on to help me with the process, but I would have done it anyway. Like if I had already committed to that. So.
Yeah. So why is it worth it?
Because I knew that it was the right time for me to take this time to, I knew that the coaching was going to be worth it. Because coaching in a group setting on a computer, I have some challenges with it because sometimes I'm afraid to speak up. I have had internet problems and getting coached when your internet is going out is kind of hard. And I just knew, and I mean, I worked with Sue, of course, but I knew that I was ready I wanted you to sort of call, if this is mean, but I wanted you to call me out on a few things. And I knew you would. Yeah.
Yeah, you were ready. You're ready for the next level. And that is what this retreat is. It's like it takes you from where you are and saying, because we all intuitively know, like we have all of our excuses and it's not always so easy for us to find our own excuses and to keep going. And so the fact that you came and you showed up and you were open to receiving the coaching.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yes, I was. And I know what it looks like when someone's not. Mm-hmm. And that's their own journey. That's not my journey.
Right.
But I was fully ready for it. So I knew it was going to be worth it.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so people who are on the fence, they're looking at the price tag. They're looking at like, oh, it's kind of inconvenient. What would you tell them?
You'll never regret investing in yourself, even if you've never done it before. You'll never look back on it and say, I wish I didn't do that. Mm-hmm. You'll always get something out of it.
Yeah.
And I definitely did.
Yeah. And I am so excited to see how you are going to fly with this. It is so exciting to see the shift in you.
Yeah.
It's almost like, it's like this like new version. It's like a makeover. You know, you see those makeovers.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow. That's what you're doing right now. You're doing your
yeah.
own. Mm-hmm.
I love when we talked about glow up. I know that comes from the book. Mm-hmm. My girls, a few years ago, they started talking about glow up. And I think I had started doing something different with my hair. And my girls were like, oh, Mom, you've had a glow up. And it's like a nice compliment, right? But this glow up is better.
Because it's coming from the inside out.
Yeah.
And that magnetic, what that does, you know, and the changes that you make in your life now will attract you to so many new things. Mm-hmm. and so many new paths that you don't even realize is going to be there. It's just awesome.
Yeah,
I love
totally.
it. Well, thanks.